And we're rolling. Here we are, back from Thanksgiving. Wake up.
I know. Man, I'm wiped out today. Tired. I don't know what it is. I slept all weekend.
Yeah, that was something that I was longing to do once I got Thanksgiving behind me.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to just do nothing but chill at the house. And it's funny because the day after Thanksgiving, I don't think anybody in my house got out of their robe.
Right.
Which I thought was fucking hilarious. It's like, man, we look like a bunch of bums.
Well, we actually got dressed, so it was okay there. I got up a little late. I think I slept in until 10:45 on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I slept in late, which is something I don't normally do. But we had company and also too, so it was fun. We had a good time.
Right.
We didn't do much, but
no, I had no plans on really doing much of anything. I was just going to coast through the weekend with as little contact with social media whatsoever. I was almost like non-existent this weekend, but I got hit up by a buddy of mine Saturday afternoon, and he had some time, and he's like, "Hey, I want to go eat, someplace. I want to have like a real sit-down dinner, yada yada yada." So, I'm sitting there trying to figure out, because he's like my beer drinking buddy. He's like a craft beer guy. So I figured, hey, are we focused more on food or are we focused more on beer?
Right.
He introduced me to this place over in the Woodlands called the Gooseacre Pub.
Yeah, the Goose's Acre. Yeah,
or the Goose's Acre. And I had never been there before. Had never heard of it. And usually
it's a for real Irish pub. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because he's been there so much, he knew the history of it. The only thing that when I was listening to him talk, the first thing I'm thinking is there's a tour bus of this place missing its freaking announcer, because he would be that guy. He just knew every single thing about this place. But when I think of the Woodlands, particularly during the Christmas time, it does not conjure the idea that I want to fucking go there.
Well, it's not bad though. I mean, I went for St. Patty's a couple times. I think I told you at lunch.
No, I mean Woodland.
The Woodlands itself. Yeah.
Christmas. So when I got there, I was thoroughly surprised. My visit this last time, I will definitely rethink going to the Woodlands on a weekend, because that was actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
Not, without being crazy.
Yeah, I went there. We didn't go anywhere like that. We just kind of ate local and mostly at home. But the time I have been there was at St. Patty's, and I was telling you, I drank 4 car bombs in like an hour. I was poured in the back of my wife's car to get home.
So you made the Northern Irish proud then?
I did. Yeah, it was pretty. It was an eventful night for me. But I'll tell you what, I was hammered.
Too funny.
Yeah, that stuff was good. That's like drinking chocolate milk almost.
Oh yeah, I freaking love Irish car bombs.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know about doing a traffic jam full of them though.
I did. I had a plethora of them, which was pretty interesting. I'm going to move this background. You may hear a little noise here. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay. That's back. That helps. But yeah, I don't know. We didn't do any road tripping this year for like the last 30 years. We've always been the ones going home to visit everybody.
Right.
We didn't do that this year. We stayed at home, and we had one niece come see us, and it was just the 3 of us.
Right.
And, and a dog. And so we had a good time. And we also had a friend over. Annette had a friend that doesn't have any family around here, so we invited her over for lunch. So we had a nice lunch with her, and then that evening, the niece came in. We went to dinner, and then...
So you sort of had a Friendsgiving.
Yeah, Friendsgiving. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was fun. I don't know. These holidays, as you get older...
Right.
There's still a connection to a time in people.
Right.
But we're just not going to go drive all over the hinterlands to see people anymore. We're kind of done with that.
Right. I don't know of a whole lot of people that I know of personally that did a lot of traveling, because when we were kids, that was one of the conversations that I had with my aunt during Thanksgiving. Is we were kind of like talking about holidays in the past, where we would have there were certain holidays that each side of our family basically had earmarked as this. Nothing ever interfered with your presence being necessary to be someplace. So, like I told her, since they've been hosting this Thanksgiving and really Christmas every year, that I have sort of made it our required attendance. So, when those holidays run around, if I get invited someplace else for those holidays, those extracurricular things happen after I make my presence, show my presence at the family deal for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Now, don't you have a holiday where do you have a Brussels sprouts casserole or something you make that you're supposed to have?
Yeah, I did it this year. It was good. But
It sounds weird. We're talking about food. This is so funny.
I avoided anything that I made this year. I mean, it was good. It just wasn't. It didn't go over as well as last year's did. But anyway, yeah, I did the Brussels sprout stuff, and that's the other thing that we came up home with so much food.
Right.
And so between the cooking that I've been doing here at home, plus the stuff that we brought home from Thanksgiving, I have been making sure that nobody is going out to eat fast food or anything like that. Or I make sure that I have room in my fridge. So, because you know how I am about freaking keeping meals, frozen meals on there.
Sure.
But yeah, we came home with some like really good stuff. So
yeah, my wife did the traditional stuff that her mom taught her how to make, so that was kind of fun. It was, I mean, since her mom's passed, it's kind of now we have to do it every year now because it's kind of a remembrance thing.
Yeah.
But hey, let's move over to something a little interesting. I'm going to jump your list a little bit here, okay?
All right.
Somebody sent me something today, and it's talked about the 4 stages of a man's life. And the first one is you believe in Santa. Okay? We all do as kids, right?
Sure.
Growing up, and you go through the disappointment when you find out he's not real. So the second one, you don't believe in Santa. That's when you get a little older, right?
Right.
So number 3, you're married, you got kids, you are Santa.
Right.
The 4th stage is you start looking like Santa.
Okay. Well, I pretty much know where I am in that one.
I thought that was funny. It's when you start getting older, you definitely look at yourself a lot different. But what I think is funny is that, I mean, we talk about how crazy people are on here a lot. And so we ran across an interesting survey that came out. It was about transgendering Santa.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy when you sent this to me, because at first I was thinking, is this for real?
It's for real.
So give me kind of the rundown.
Well, you read the article more than I did, but it was basically a poll sent out. They said to 400 people.
Okay.
But they ended up getting 4,000 responses, so this thing must have got forwarded a lot, right?
Right.
So they come back and, they ask things like, what would Santa look like?
Okay.
So skinny jeans was a thing that they said Santa would be wearing. He'd have an iPhone, right?
So is it safe to say that they basically skewed their poll to a certain age
Oh,
group?
I guarantee they did. There's no doubt.
Because when you start mentioning iPhone and skinny jeans.
Sure. Yeah, you're drawing up a specific crowd for sure.
Sure.
I just think it's funny that nothing's sacred anymore. I mean, can't we just leave Santa alone?
Well, when I read one of the articles, I guess that somebody might have linked this article to their site or whatever. And reading just the Twitter comments about what people were saying, the first thing that people bring up is, "Oh my God, folks, these are fictional fucking characters. Are you kidding me that now you want to make sure a fictional character has a gender fluid presence? Are you kidding? What part of fucking fiction do you not get?"
Sure.
And another guy said, "Hey, if we're deep diving the thought that fictional characters need to have no gender whatsoever, at least when you don't point it out, we need to be put to sleep forever."
For sure. I could see elves and fairies being gender neutral. I get that.
Well, but
you can't take Santa and you can't neuter Santa.
Yeah, because history. I mean, there's too much history there,
right? To
say, okay, now we're this.
And I don't care what people do. They can dye their hair. They can wear funny hats. They can do all kinds of weird shit, so long as they realize that the public has certain rules that you have to follow.
Right.
And this here is a rebranding of a modernization.
Yeah.
They call it. It's just basically somebody sitting there saying, well, we need to rebrand Santa. So I guess that opens up all kinds of doors for merchandising and things like that. Or does it? Would you even buy? I think it would make the vintage Santa stuff more coveted.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't buy anything new that has,
How much
new Santa on there.
Would you say that let's just call it, like you said, nostalgic Christmas decorations or that show like characters that are traditionally known to be associated with Christmas? Wouldn't they negatively impact those industries?
I would think so, because it's very specifically focused to the likes of these people. Here's some funny things. So they want him to get a new haircut.
Right. I want to find a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with a dick. Okay.
Right. That's true. Yeah, you never see that, do you? Yeah, they want him to trim his beard so he'd look like one of those beard commercials, right? Flannel shirt.
So he's a lumberjack.
Tattoos.
Uh-huh.
You see who the group that they focus this to.
Yeah.
Wearing running shoes or training shoes instead of boots.
So I wonder, what is the desired end state when they get
hoverboard?
Yeah, the hoverboard I thought was funny as shit.
Right.
But when you end up with this character looking the way that you are, because really this has just turned into kind of a Mr. Potato Head for
that's a great way to put that.
Millennials to make your own Santa. That's pretty much what's going on here. So what is the end state supposed to be? Once you've gotten all this stuff out of the way and now new Santa looks the way that you, then what?
I think they're doing it because they can get away with it. Okay? Seriously. I mean, nowadays, who's going to question this whole gender neutrality thing, right?
Okay.
No, everybody does it quietly, but they don't openly attack it or fight back. Attack's not the right word. Fight back or push back.
Right.
I mean, what living, breathing people do is their business, okay?
Right.
This is an iconic holiday symbol.
Agreed.
Right? Okay, so if in case people don't know, Santa really does not exist, okay? Let's just say that up front, okay? The fact that we have a group of people...
There's small children crying now.
Right. I'm sure there's some highly sensitive adults crying as well. We've always grown up with the stories of Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Right.
Okay? Every town has that guy or that couple that people gravitate towards the Santa guy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you see them all over. There's just people that live for that, and they're the kind of people that make you feel good about the holidays. I mean, Christmas is my favorite time of the year, mostly because it's winter. Okay. It's colder. I don't like the super hot summers. I like, like tepid summers, and I like cooler falls, and I like cold winters.
Right.
So for me, the whole thing about Santa and Mrs. Claus getting ready to go out and, bring all presents to everybody, I think those are great stories to tell people. I mean, that's just been part of who we are as human beings.
Right.
Now you got these people that come along and want to change it, but say we go transgender Santa.
It's just funny to say.
I know, right? So what do we do with the snowman?
Or gingerbread man.
Yeah, or the gingerbread man, we talked about elves a little bit.
But elves are safe. Elves and fairies and any other
because they can be. They can be, and it's
reindeer, as long as we don't tell you their fucking names. But,
we don't call them bucks, do we?
Yeah.
They're not bucks or does, so there's really no distinction there. So that's kind of, I guess you check that box for those people, because they call them reindeer, not rain buck or rain doe.
And I've never met anybody named Comet, so.
Right. Well, I guarantee there's a Starbucks cup somewhere with the name Comet written on it. I guarantee it.
I'm sure. But, I mean, you can't derive a gender from the name.
No, you really can't. Not anymore.
I'm going to tangent a little bit to the transgender thing about the changing. So, I had this thought when I was driving over here about the whole, because I told you offline about this vegan discovery thing that I did this weekend.
Right.
So, From a scientific standpoint, okay, you know how like in the science books they would tell you, what a carnivore is and what certain animals, what their dietary needs are. So you'll have, carnivore, omnivore, herbivore. I don't know what other kind of vores there are, but is omnivore the one that allows you to either do meat and vegetation, plants?
I would think that omni means
that's what I'm thinking. But so I'm sitting here thinking, if society is so fluid in how we're not presenting facts, but I guess whatever has existed before, now we're going back and we're trying to change a mind state. If you go back and write in the science books where you start saying humans are vegetarians. So you start implanting this knowledge where somebody will think that we no longer can eat meat. I just wonder to what length they would go to, or somebody would go to make sure
I think
drive home
it works.
A vegan ideology.
I think it works way over a long period of time. Sure.
And I'm not attacking veganism. I'm just attacking the fact that you could have a militant vegan who wants to attack the academic side and change all the fucking books to say, humans normally we're supposed to be vegans, yada yada yada. Which I think is fucking funny.
Man, here's a rabbit hole we're about to dive headfirst into.
No, that was my tangent. Okay, let's go back.
No. Now you open this can, let's eat it. So it's funny. Over a period of time, yes, you can change behavior because we see it.
Right.
If you take the school,
good point. Okay.
If you go to the schools, okay, and you start in the schools like they've done, you can change perception and direction of a age group forever.
Well, first thing that pops in my head is the Pledge of Allegiance. So,
sure. Those are it all starts there. The minute you use question authority as the basis or the vehicle to start the movement.
Okay.
Then you start picking apart belief systems and you make people feel guilty about the belief system. Why do you believe in this? Well, it was because my parents said, well, your parents are wrong. You see how it exponentially will expand out. So what ends up happening is you
created an enemy just by pointing out.
Sure. And it's really simply done. It's just how they work. And so they get you to question everything, okay? And then they make you more concerned about the individual than the greater good for all.
Yes.
But while they're doing that, they're moving you into a direction that they define as the greater good of all.
Right.
Okay. Same thing happens with marketing, like cell phones. We got along without cell phones forever.
Oh, yeah.
Just fine. You found a payphone, you borrowed a friend's phone at their house, whatever it was.
Yeah, when I was a kid, the last thing, if cell phones had existed then,
we wouldn't have
them. I am the last person that you want to give me a cell phone.
Well, my parents wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And so yes, we are adaptable. They know that. So that's why they push these programs. I can tell you that that's what the agenda is to move people away from animal proteins, to move them into plant-based proteins. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the reason why, it's because they'll control that from A to Z. I mean, I just posted something yesterday about how we're losing 40 acres a day in this country from farmers.
Right.
Going to developers, and so when you start taking food, the ability to grow food from the family farm, and you corporatize it, well, there you go. Then you eat what they tell you you're going to eat.
Right.
Your choices are gone, and so the same thing with this whole gender thing.
Well, and you're right about the rabbit hole because as you were explaining all this stuff, suddenly my head starts going. I mean, suddenly I start diving even deeper into the rabbit hole because I start getting into there's going to be a chemistry difference between eating a vegan diet versus a meat diet.
Sure, there's trace minerals. There's all kinds of things that you're missing out on.
Right.
That but the human body was made to adapt. So if you're in an area where
the omnivore.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. We are the ultimate when it comes to that.
Right.
Our body's able to live off of plant protein and carbohydrates the same way as we are animal protein and fats and all those other things. So you eat what's in your area or what's available.
Okay.
And so we live in, people forget in this country, we have freedoms beyond freedoms here. A lot of people would be laughing at this conversation anywhere else in the world because they're lucky to get a potato.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're glad to get a piece of meat, or they're lucky to get a piece of bread somewhere.
I'm thinking a human really is an opportunistic.
They are. The greatest gift that we were ever given is the power to choose. Right. And look at what we do with that choice. We fuck it up every avenue we get. One, we can't make up our mind. Two, when we make a decision, we're not happy with the decision. Did we make the decision the right one, the wrong one?
Right.
You know, there's so many people in this world that then look for those people that are undecided and help you decide.
So I wonder how much of the chemistry of a vegan diet is responsible for coming up with the idea that we need to change the gender of a fictional fucking character.
Well, that's what I think happened. Was somebody was looking for a snack and had a hallucination that Santa was a transgender vegan. Because I'm telling you, it takes that kind of mind. Why would you even fool with it? You know, that's the thing that gets me, is that Santa is one of those fantasies that brings children happiness,
right?
And it takes adults back to a halcyon days of being a kid,
right?
It's a fantasy there. Now, a lot of people argue that it's a pagan holiday, whatever. You know, I think whatever it is, if you're wearing a cone and you're burning something and you're chanting to some fake god somewhere, good for you, go for it. Well, I look at Santa as a time of the year to where everything is just fun,
right?
You know,
a vegan, really, if you think about it, is really just one bad experience away from just becoming a carnivore again.
You know it. I guarantee you got to be. You know, you think
you haven't been hungry. That's right. What the deal is.
You'll eat a rat, a bird, a worm.
Shit.
Yeah,
you'll be eating things. You'll be putting stuff in your mouth that you've never even thought you were going to put in just to satisfy that hunger.
So, how far did your survival training go when you were in military?
We didn't.
You didn't do any SEER? You didn't do any SEER?
No,
okay.
No, the
right.
Where I was, this is funny as shit, but our level of SEER is done online. So
that's funny. That's hilarious. Well, you know, I grew up.
I'm not ashamed to say that it was. That's just the way it is.
So I grew up survivalist, bushcrafter, Boy Scout. Right. I was always.
I did all that. I did all.
Okay, so maybe that's how I should ask you then.
Yeah, I did
so
lots of Boy
what's
Scouts.
The nastiest thing that you found in the wild that you've eaten?
I've had worms.
Yeah, before. So we've had grubs.
Yeah.
So we get these grubs out of a tree, and then you cook them and they pop.
Uh-huh.
You know, I would eat them crunchy, but I wouldn't eat them raw.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, so you know, getting your mind past the fact that that's a bug.
Uh-huh.
Now, I can't eat it if it's crawling. It's just not going to happen.
Now, one of the things that we kind of shows like if you wrapped it up in like a leaf or something.
Sure. Yes.
To mask, you know,
mask.
That was one of the things.
Because you eat with your eyes. I don't care what anybody says.
And that was the
intent. If you look at it, you're not going to eat it. So what ends up happening when you're starving, you're hallucinating.
Yeah.
You are weak beyond weak.
Your chemistry's off.
Yeah, your body is just starting to shut down because it's destroying its muscles.
Right.
And so when you find something to eat, a lot of times, if you're at that point, you're beyond satiation at that point.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you'll eat it and you'll reject it and throw it up. Your body will not be able to process it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching these. I'm watching a lot of vegans move around in the world. No wonder they're so angry. No wonder they're so angry. No wonder they're so amped up because their body is like going, feed me something, damn it. I mean, you know, you look at anemic vegans,
okay,
and you look at an obese person. The obese person is a lot happier than that vegan. Yeah. Think about it. They are. First of all, they accept who they are.
Right.
They accept why they are the way they are, and they understand that. But a vegan will starve themselves for the sake of an ideology that they don't even know for sure is accurate. Okay?
Yeah.
Then they make you miserable by trying to rain it down on you, saying, no, this is wonderful. It's good for everybody.
Right.
That's how I see the transgender shit. Okay? I see the transgender saying, no, we can't have everybody happy with Santa. Okay? We got to mucky him up so that everybody can be like us.
Well, and so when you insert that kind of agenda into a holiday season that cuts across all kinds of social lines,
mm-hmm.
and the fact that you don't, maybe if the fact that you don't agree with it makes you, in their eyes or in somebody's eyes, somebody that, you're, okay, I keep hearing about this whole thing about boomer.
Yeah.
Which I think is fucking funny as shit. It's
stupidest thing ever.
Now, I personally haven't gotten applied to me, nor am I going to call anybody else that.
Right.
But if you're not of a mindset that is of current modern thinking, suddenly you're a boomer, because you're. I'm not hanging on to things because I think that they're right. It's they're things that I'm familiar with, and those things haven't been disproven by anything else.
Well, and I hear that and I agree with that, but it's my choice.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my choice. If I choose to be an anemic vegan, okay, I'll do that. But I can tell you, every vegan I know is not a happy person. I haven't met one yet that doesn't have some kind of issue somewhere. Okay, they always. It's like they're like neurotics. They're never happy with anything.
I just pictured a vegan sitting in front of we're not beating up on vegans. We're just having fun with vegans right now. So,
well, if I was, I mean,
it's just something that we do.
Yeah, they're never happy. But go ahead.
But I look at a vegan eating like a bowl of whatever a vegan person does, and you said that they're not happy. So I see this sort of thought cloud over their head. They're eating this bowl of, let's say it's spinach and whatever kind of vegetable, and they're really thinking of a Big Mac.
Yeah. Well, so when I see that bubble, I see them thinking, I'm saving an animal that's going to die anyway.
Right.
It's going to die of age or its own nature. Okay. So you have that. They also see in the bubble that they're saving the planet. But yet they go out and they spend money on stuff made from India and China that's polluting the world at a record rate.
But they're helping that nation.
Yeah. So in their mind, it's
a third world.
Yeah. And that's how they look at it. Okay. I also see a bubble that there's some kind of I'm being socially responsible. So in the bubble, I see this, I call it the cloud of confusion. Okay. And so I see these activists that's how they think about it. Now for me, I'm going to wake up and eat because I'm hungry.
Right.
And I'm going to choose something that is healthy or that's something that I want at that time. It may not be healthy.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm not going to go campaigning around the world to change how you eat and how everybody around me eats. And I'm not going to condemn them or damn them or call them a name.
Right.
And because of that, because you know what? I wake up, I'm happy. I'm doing what makes me happy. And I try to stay away from those that are going to mess with my calm.
Right.
Okay. I just don't want to be around those. So when I see stuff like this, I just laugh. This is why I'm a collector.
Right.
This is why I save stuff.
You had a very small moment there where you almost were the dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You're bringing me down, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. I feel like that. And so you sit there. I'm a live and let live person until you kick the legs out from my stool.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck how you.
And then when you kick the legs out of my stool, I'm going to pick up the stool. I'm going to wrap you over the head with it because it's like, look, leave me alone. So we get into so we have this whole thing, right?
Right.
So let's now move it to Hollywood. Okay? Because, you know, first of all, they fuck with Santa.
Right.
Now they're messing with Star Wars.
Yes.
And this is okay.
Lando.
Yeah. I'm like, really? Are you kidding me? I was like, I read that and I go, you've got to be kidding. I'm shocked. I'm shocked, first of all, that, so they do these polls and they say, okay, well, Captain America should be gay.
Okay, I hadn't seen that.
Okay, yeah, that's the one that's going around now. And then you have all these female actresses saying that, well, they don't watch movies because they hate women, okay? Now we have Star Wars, our beloved Star Wars.
Right.
Now they want to turn around and make the guy gender fluid. No, honestly?
No, I thought he in real life was Lando Calrissian. Okay, Billy D. Williams himself personally was claiming himself to be.
Oh, he could be. He could be.
Not the character, because if he's talking about himself, then I nominate Billy D. Williams to be the new transgender Santa.
Well, there you go.
That actually addresses a lot of,
because they're wanting to make transgender characters in that series, though.
Did not know that.
Oh yeah, all of them are. Anywhere they can slip it in, that's where they're going to do. Anywhere that they
Again,
anywhere. So yeah, I know. I just caught that as I said that. But it's just ridiculous at this point because they say it's exclusionism. No, it's a story. The collective whole.
Well, okay, so you've got the subgroup of a minor group complaining of being would you say subjugated or
yes,
and like what part of if you're not in the majority, I'm not saying you can't think that way, you just can't create a policy where the majority does not willingly go along with this ideology and then claim that you're being, your ideas are being suppressed. No, they're not.
Right.
You're just not going to suppress a majority at all.
Sure. No, I get it. So I'm just reading a little bit on Lando here where Billy D was basically saying that he was gender fluid.
His character?
Describing this character as pansexual.
Okay, and I could actually, whatever.
He says he reacts to Donald Glover, who took over the role for Solo, the Lando character in Solo, right?
I didn't know. Yeah. Oh, okay, so I haven't seen that.
So I haven't either. Okay. A Star Wars story. And he's talking about the character being pansexual.
It's like, I guess we're boomers now.
Right. So what I think is funny is that you're right, Billy D describes himself as gender fluid. But, when you look at Billy D, I mean...
he has always been sort of a pretty boy.
Yeah,
But I never associated it
with... Hollywood pretty boy probably doesn't swing the gate both ways. I would think that that's a majority of them.
I'm thinking well, he was a character that... or his celebrity put him on freaking posters. So
sure.
Nobody sells a shitty looking poster.
Right.
So he has to appeal to his audience.
Right.
So, and if makeup is part of that, then okay. But I never drew the conclusion that the fact that he puts makeup on makes him effeminate. No, I don't fucking care.
So since I've got a confession to make. I'm just going to make it right here before you and the world, okay?
Right after we just go this
right. So I am a lesbian trapped in a male body.
Okay.
I just want you to know that.
Cowboy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was one of the greatest videos ever, wasn't it?
Moo moo buckaroo.
Yeah. So I am clearly a lesbian trapped in a male body, and I can't help myself. And I think I don't want to say it's funny because I say that too much. But when you read about these Hollywood people coming out, I never was shocked. I'm a firm believer that the casting couch swings both ways.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that when you start hearing the Epstein stories and you start hearing the Weinstein stories and you start finding out that he was hustling or pimping little kids, the Disney executives and the politicians and the power brokers, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, well, you find out that there's anything can be currency.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And you always hear stories of the Jane Mansfields, the Marilyn Monroes, and all these other starlets that go to Hollywood, and some of them get ruined and kill themselves. Some of them become successful.
Right.
And then when they come out later, after they've been washed up, they talk about all the debased things they were made to do by executives and producers and directors. This news about Billy doesn't surprise me one bit. Not one bit at all.
So everybody just go to Amazon Prime, find his freaking address, and send him a fucking Santa hat.
There you go. I think that's what we should do. But so since we're on the bizarre, and we're talking a little bit about food and stuff like that, let's talk about sunbathing buttholes.
Yeah, that was a little nugget that I ran across on freaking thank you Reddit.
Yeah. Apparently it's a thing though.
Yeah. I tried not to read too much into the article, but the whole concept of this. So I had images of people going fucking hiking up into the mountains in Arizona and fucking finding a good rock that has a lot of exposure so they can expose nature. So I'm like, I was like, who the fuck thinks of this shit? Go home, bleach your asshole like a normal person. Jesus Christ.
Well, it's called perineum sunning, is what it's called.
So, is there benefits to it?
Well, yeah, it says that apparently it helps keep your bum clean. This is clearly a British.
Well, it's like, so sunlight. They say sunlight is the natural.
Yes.
Sanitizer.
Yeah. So that's what they're basically saying. It's saying that apparently keeps the area clean and free of germs. And what else?
Soap and water.
Keeps your bum clean would be washing it in a bathtub, like you said.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So relationship coaches are talking about this as being a dating event. I'm telling you, this is right here in the article, right? And so.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I think you can immediately connect with somebody.
It's a nature outing.
Yes, it's a nature outing. Can you imagine being on a hike and you're just walking along and you see four legs in the air and you walk? And
what do you do if you go to an area where they have like tour groups with families?
Oh, the Japanese camera. That would be the photo ops. That would be fun.
That is hilarious. Crazy Americans.
And that's true. We are the only country that does dumb shit like that.
That is the only other place that might do some dumb shit like this would be Germany.
Yeah. Or Sweden. Maybe Sweden. Yeah, so they couldn't arrest you for indecent exposure then.
But I don't motherfuck the Swedes because they have some like really.
Oh yeah, well Swedes are different for sure.
Yeah, they got some shit over there that I'm kind of down with. So
yeah. Well, some doctors think it's a bunch of BS. They're just saying no.
That should read all.
Yeah, the perineum sunning is just a bunch of bullshit. But they're saying there's no evidence that this has any kind of effect on your well-being or not.
I did a study for a whole summer to figure out whether this was positive or negative. Oh my God.
So this one doctor, she said she says she feels it has an effect on your well-being. Okay.
That's like 100% emotion. That
sure,
has no facts at all.
Practicing mindfulness and meditation, you're getting on top of that, you're getting your daily dose of vitamin D.
Mindfulness. Yeah. You got your dose I get my dose of vitamin D through my butt. Which can be taken
that sounds really strange there, my friend. Well, I don't know. Like I said, this is just a crazy world. Let's go to Starbucks. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So, so this is I don't even. Where was the offending location?
I knew you would ask me that. Let me find it really quick. Here it is.
Well, wherever it was, they have a local police department.
Glenpool is the name of the city. So let's see where that Glenpool is. Utah. No, Oklahoma.
Oh,
what?
Okay.
Really? Glenpool, Oklahoma. Yeah. And there was so the girl's name is Lola Price. She's a former manager for the Glenpool Starbucks.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And apparently what happened is an officer came to the store to get coffee for the office.
Right.
And
it was in the store.
I believe he went in the store, yes. Yes, he went in the store. And so when the cups came, it had pig on them, P-I-G.
On all of them?
On all of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they, I guess she caught it, and she said something to him about it, and he laughed it off. But the social media implication just went crazy, and she ended up getting fired. So Starbucks fired her.
So my first alerting of this is because I'm on all the platforms, and I follow Black Rifle Coffee.
Right.
And so it started off with they did an all call on Twitter. They probably did it on all their platforms, but I caught it on Twitter. And they wanted to know who the officer was, or at least the department was, because they were going to hook that department up with. I don't think I have the amount of coffee right, but I want to say it was like we're gonna set them up for like a year or so with like free coffee,
right?
Because Black Rifle Coffee is a huge supporter of
first responders, military, and law enforcement, right?
So when they hear of stuff like this, they're usually the first to jump on and make this situation right. They can't change the attitude of the Starbucks employee, but they damn sure can let the local police departments, wherever they are, know that, hey, not everybody fucking hates them. There's a lot of guys that do really good shit for those guys.
Yeah. Again, here we go with the whole blue line thing. It's a misguided punk.
Yeah.
Working in a low to average education job.
Right.
Okay. Barista, big fucking deal. You make coffee with swirlies in them.
Right.
That doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But so you do something that is. What if you said, if you use the N-word? What if you put the N-word on there? What if you put fat person on there?
Right.
What if you put fag on there? What if you said something else that's offensive? Okay, don't you think that you would be? I mean, you wouldn't do that.
Right.
So why would you take the liberty by calling somebody else a pig or a pig when you don't? I mean, it goes against everything you say you're for when you're those people. Oh, they're pigs. I protest cops. Well,
you know who shows up when your store gets robbed?
Yeah, police.
Fucking police.
Yeah.
The guy that you called a fucking pig, you idiot. That's what's crazy about this whole thing. So, I find another associated article that says that the employee, they say that the employee they held responsible is fired, and the follow up to the article, or the additional part of the article is that said employee claims they were wrongfully terminated. So with not knowing that they had gotten the incorrect employee, I naturally think that, oh my God, now you're going to have this employee pulling some fucking kind of card to make it seem like whoever got rid of them is the bad guy. They didn't do anything fucking wrong. Well, it turns out that it's a manager. And so you and I did some speculating on that.
Well, so the police chief called the store and complained. Okay. And the manager offered to replace all those cops.
Okay.
With the correct label. And she did apologize for that.
Which is what a manager will do.
Do. Yeah. And so when you listen to the reporter went to visit her and did an interview with her. And she's saying, look, I'm not the one that did it. I was the manager on duty, and I tried to do this and do that. But they just fired me.
Right.
Okay. So it makes you question what protected the employee. And that's that's the only way we can put it without becoming targeted ourselves for some kind of scrutiny.
Because it brought up so many more questions.
Yeah. So the concern that we have, and this is very typical with corporate organizations, is they feel like the quicker you do it, just get it done, get it out, it'll go away.
Right.
This one shouldn't go away. Because I'm actually on her side.
The manager?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm on the manager side on this one. Because if she was there and she tried to fix it, she said she talked to the cop and he just laughed it off and left. He wasn't like, just...
Because he's probably used to that shit too.
He is, but the chief's the one that made the call.
Right.
Now, right or wrong, okay, they fired the wrong person. You find the employee that did it. It's really easy. You just look at the code on the label. It tells you who's logged in to register. That person's gone. That's the bottom line. The manager, if I was her, I would sue for wrongful termination. Now, and I would sue for discrimination as well. Just because.
Well, and so like before we started recording, I wanted to go find out what's going on with social media as far as like Starbucks. Because I want to just find out how much are people talking about this. Is this now? I anticipated there to be a lot of chatter, which there was a lot of chatter there. So, and I'm sure that anytime any large corporation employee fucks up in some way, I'm sure that every corporation has some sort of a boilerplate statement that they're going to put out, and then they're just going to put whoever, if they have to address somebody individually, they'll put whoever that is individually in front of that boilerplate and massage it left or right to make sure that it sounds right for the message that they're trying to convey. So when I went and looked at the comments, in the post where because I only picked one to just look at just to see how they responded, they're almost like sweeping it under the rug with, hey, we got the employee, they got him out of there, we're sorry that our employee did this, but it won't happen again, yada yada yada, hope you come back, and or hell, they might even throw a fucking free coupon out for the next whatever it is that they buy for a day, a month, a year, whatever it is, just to keep that money coming in and wipe away the stain that's going to show up on their social media. That's the thing that I'm kind of wondering about, is how much damage can you do before you impact. And Starbucks is a publicly traded company.
A publicly traded company with a lot of controversial baggage that they're carrying around. It's actually Kiefer Police Department, but it's the stores in Glenpool, Oklahoma. Okay. And so I'm reading the Starbucks statement, and it's a pretty much, like you said, it's a boilerplate thing talking about intolerance and the need for education. But where I think we have a problem is how they handle it. Now, I don't know how that internal investigation went for Starbucks.
Right.
I just know that most companies want these things off of the screen right away.
Absolutely.
If I'm on her side, if she in fact had nothing to do with it and was wrongfully terminated. Okay? Because I don't want to be just as guilty as Starbucks was for firing her, for defending her without knowing 100% the truth.
Yeah.
Because just a few minutes ago I said I was.
Because ultimately I want the truth.
Yeah, I want the person responsible for this terminated, not a feel-good statement by the company. Because in my mind, I would love to see a company like Black Rifle just go and wipe Starbucks off the planet. So I can tell you for many, 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 many years, Starbucks was an account that I worked on product development with. And back in the day, it was all of that. Okay, this is early 2000. This is in the 90s, early 2000s is when I was working with them. So I haven't been attached to them for however long it is, right? 19 years, 17 years, something like that. And I can tell you that the company is completely different than it is now. Most of these companies have become so social media driven for business that they have succumbed to the voice of social media in the direction of their company.
It's just a circus.
Yeah, it really is. And they always tell you, if you try to please everybody, you'll never make anybody happy and you'll be unhappy all the time. Mm-hmm. This is what you're seeing here. This is what you're seeing with Starbucks, is that they are not, you can't be everything to everybody, but you have to be thorough in your job and do it correctly. The district manager, whoever's in charge of that area, would be the one I would be coming down on.
Sure.
Because I'd want to know what your due diligence was. This person may have phoned it in, just said, oh, it's such and such a store, and she was in charge that day, or whatever it is. You don't know if you had a whistleblower on the inside turning her in. I mean, then we go through the whole, who's the whistleblower? Do we protect the whistleblower? Mm-hmm. I'm being facetious here. I know. Because what ends up happening, I've been in situations where when the inmates run the asylum, this is where you get in trouble. Because what ends up happening is you're taking away a very important part of managing a business by listening to the person that may have committed the crime. I mean, you see that a lot where you get employees that feel like they should have been the manager and they brought in a new manager, and because then you're out to sabotage that person. I've seen that happen. Oh, sure.
That's just human nature.
There's just so much that goes on in a circle of business with people. You can't, it can't be
motivations.
The motivations are all over the place. And when you're driven by silly things, and I'm going to say it, silly things like these social media, social agenda issues that don't have any bearing on business. It's all high touch stuff. You never know where the ground is. You never know.
That's because that's actually a really good way to say that.
Yeah, you don't, because today the person is all about having blue hair. Tomorrow it's about having no hair. The next day it's about having black hair. I mean, they're a moving target all the time.
And it's something just kind of occurred to me with the way you said that. Mm-hmm. Is, you almost become a corporation where you're trying to build your foundation on shifting sands.
And that's what you're doing.
Holy crap,
Yeah. You should build it on excellent products at fair prices with some of the best service in the world. And when you hire people, you should tell them that. Look, this company is about this, okay? Our diversity is our ability to provide this level of service to everybody.
Right.
Not based on what they wear, not based on how they look, not based on how they act. Mm-hmm. Now, if they're civil, if they fall out of the rules of civil obedience, then they're out. But just because you don't like what they're wearing, just because you don't like how they look, doesn't give you, the employee, the right to do what you do.
They can't be militant anytime they want.
They're not. Their job is to provide a product and a service.
Yeah.
That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And when we start allowing that to take place of doing the job, this is what you end up with companies like Starbucks. Now, the problem with a lot of these companies is the CEOs and the marketing people are just as wackadoo as some of the people they hire.
Yeah.
They forget the whole idea is to provide products and services to the consumer.
That's the business of your business.
Stay out of all the political stuff. Just stay out of it. Just do your job. Now, if you as a person want to roll the dice and step out in the world and start saying some of the shit that some of these people say, be ready to reap that.
Right.
Okay? Because you can't do that. You can't do that wearing the company logo.
Yeah. They're not going to let you fuck them over.
No, and they shouldn't. So I don't know. Like I said, I just look at this as this is going to be interesting. I'd like to see what happens because Starbucks has not commented on this.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them because I actually responded before we got online to.
And I really like how you did that, by the way. That was well written.
Because if there's another side to the story, you can't just say that we addressed the problem solved, and it's not going to happen anymore, and we're going to do like a community outreach, yada yada yada, and those are all supposed to be feel good words. No more. There's nothing here. Move on. No, that's not actually what's going on because the person that you're saying is responsible is saying they didn't do it, and you're now throwing out the comment of no comment, which
right. Oops. So you just might as well just say oops.
Yeah. So, but this is all just crazy stuff here, and we haven't even reached Christmas yet.
I know.
So, what kind of more craziness is going to be out there?
I don't know, man.
So we about done with this pig here?
I think so. I don't know. I always walk away from these things sometimes just shaking my head going, what did we just do?
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes I look at, man, I need to read better shit.
Yeah.